Copy abilities have been tricking the youth for the past millennium. It's crazy. Copy abilities can be cool, right, in certain instances, but they're usually lame as fuck. And the only saving grace of copy abilities that I heard was that, woohoo, if I copy this guy and use his abilities even better, haha, I'm the coolest guy ever. That y'all just dreaming, bro. That doesn't happen. Like that only happens because of just MC nonsense. Like there is no case where there shouldn't be a case where a nigga has been using his abilities for the past whatever year, his whole life. You copy it and you know more. Like how does that fucking make sense? Like do you genuinely believe that? There's only agenda and nonsense behind any mangaka that does that. Like I do get it when it's like a super top tier would copy like a scrub and be like, you're using this wrong, copy, boom, we good. But like I've seen like such like I've seen things happen where two top tiers, but like one's like the main character, he'll copy and then does it better. Like that's bullshit, bro. Y'all know that too. And the main thing about copy abilities people forget is that you cannot train a copy ability. Like I guess on paper you might make it last longer or some shit, but like the core training of a copy ability, that's not the thing. People with actual powers, like real powers, they can train them. Like they train their powers, become stronger, yada yada yada. And then all copy ability niggas can do is wait till one of those real niggas with real abilities pull up and they be like, oh, finally I can use my power to copy you. Like that's it. They're just wave riders. Like I be looking at niggas that copy and it just don't be moving me. I'm like, yeah, you copied them, but like you're only cool because they were cool. Like what if they didn't have a cool ability? Or what if that an ability that's only cool if you have like 10 years of experience? Then the other person is cool because again they train for whatever amount of time, 10 plus years, and then you think you're cool by copying them, but that's just not the case. And copying is different from stealing. All right, I know y'all niggas. Oh, but what about Chrono? It's different. All right, if you rob a nigga, that's different than copying a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like copying, you're like looking at someone's homework, fucking copying that shit, trying to act like you're just as smart as them. It doesn't work. You're just a copier. You're never gonna be as cool. OG always better. Stealing is cool though, but just copying, I don't see it. And I know people won't be like, "Oh, you're slandering Utah from JJK." Nah, because Utah can store. Storing is a bit different. You know what I'm saying? Storing gives some nuance. So like the copying, it's still like the core of it is still like whatever to me. But the fact that he could store it and use it later, that's cool because now he isn't completely relying on the opponent. Because that's the main thing about copy niggas that like get me. That like you have to have the other person be cool, and then now you're cool. You know what I'm saying? Like the other person have to have a cool power for you to even have a cool power. So if the other person does have a cool power, like for example, JJK, there's that receipt dude, right? He has a bunch of receipts. That power isn't like the coolest power of all time, but you can use it in a cool way depending on like how smart and experienced you are. You can like gather receipts of so many. Like there's a lot of things you can buy in this world, and you can really plan it so that like you have all these like receipts on you of all this cool shit, and then you can just like use them and then just have this crazy game. Like you can really do some shit with this power if used properly. But of course, if someone doesn't know your power and they're like, "Oh snap, this guy has a power. Let me copy it." They copy it, and then now that they can use receipts too, but now what? They have no preparation. They didn't even know about the power until just now, and then they have to what go start gathering receipts and shit. Like it only works if the other person got cool ass powers, and then now you could like do some shit. This is what you're talking about. What about it's temporary based off what you're talking about? What about Kurapika Steel? Yeah. Like I said, stealing is fine. I'm talking purely just copying. Like they're now like instead of one person with the power, it's two people with the power. But you are like you just got it. So realistically, no matter what you do, the person that already had the ability is like he will use it better. He has more experience. So it's like one person has an ability, and then the guy that can copy copies that ability. Now two people have the ability. If I'm picking between which two I want to see use the power, it's gonna be the OG user. It's always gonna be the original guy with more experience. That's his power. He's gonna be able to use it better. Of course, there's the BS of MC uses the power even better. That's not realistic. Y'all know that shit. But yeah, so just like why do I want to see two niggas with the same power when like the OG guy had it longer, knows more nuance about the power. It's like it's just a waste. And then especially since the copy dude can only be cool if the other person is cool. Like they're completely reliant on the other person. So it's like if that's it, if that's your only pool that you copy, that's it. It's like, dog, get out of my screen, bro. I do not need you. Don't move me, bro. There are so many powers in this world, and you want to just copy another nigga's powers. Because imagine, what if you're in a world with no powers, like real life right now, like someone just like, hey, bro, I can give you the power to copy powers. Boom. Now you're the only superhuman on this planet, but your power is copy. What can you do? Literally nothing, because no one else has powers. But if I give you the power right now to fucking shoot beams, shoot lasers, fly, super strength, you can use that shit. You can actually go outside and use all those abilities because those are real abilities. Copying, what's copying gonna do? You can't copy nobody in that world with no powers, you know? So it's like, bro, y'all are so reliant on everything else. It's like the mangaka has to take special care of you. The mangaka always has to make sure that you're fighting cool abilities, make sure that you can still use them in like ways that make sense. Yada yada yada. And you know what? I'm good off all that, bro. Is there no value on the idea of having tried to use multiple different type of powers? Unique. See, that's a good point, EK, and there is value in that, but you have to make your power system based on that. For example, if it's something like My Hero, right? Whereas like, actually, wait, I get what you're saying. Basically, like you're using EXP from like how you use previous powers, and then like if you copy like a similar power currently, you can now use the previous EXP to expand that like the current power, which I definitely do understand. But I still feel like even if you had that previous experience, you will still never beat the experience of like the guy that was born with the power. Like the person that was born with the power and used the power at every single situation. No matter how many similar powers you got before, I still don't think you'll be able to use the current power as well as like the person born with it. And if you're talking more so like a power system where you can do more than just copy, because I'm talking like just like something like My Hero. Like if you're Monama something, like all you can do is copy. Like that's it. There is no like extra power. Like the power system doesn't give you extra like shit. Like it's just copying. That's it. Someone has a power, you copy them, you use them. Someone else has a power, copy them, use them. That's it. Like it's not like Nen where you can use like Ren and Gyo and you can do extra shit. Use experience like it's like none of that. It's just copying. That's it. If it's like that kind of series, then it's not. And they'll give you unique underpower and they use it new and even better ways. I get what you mean, but I still think innate experience will always be better. Like for example, if you use Mirio, right? Like do you like no matter like you could have a copy ability for like 10 years. You copied a shit ton of powers. As soon as you copy Mirio's ability, no matter what you copied before, I still don't think you'll be able to use it better than Mirio. Mirio would always use his power better than you, no matter what. Just because that's all he does. All he does is use it, and he uses it in a lot of different scenarios. Because what like using another person's ability does is that it gives you like it's like kind of like tracing, like if this is drawing, right? So it's just like you have like you trace someone's drawing, so you have an idea of all these different like head shapes and stuff like that. But no matter how many times you like see like an art style or whatever, and how many times you try to like copy the art style, you would never really give off the same vibe as the original mangaka. I feel like. Or I agree, mine's been super technical. Yeah, because I'm talking about like those kind of things. Because you see how situational it has to be. Like for a copy ability to properly be like used like to the best of its ability, you gotta make sure the ability itself is like it's catered to the copy ability. Like if we're talking about copy abilities in general, because there's so many abilities like Mirio's ability, where it's like technical, a lot of practice. Even Best Genius was talked like his quirk was said to be pretty technical, stuff like that. So just like the only way copy abilities work properly is if you cater their opponents to the copy ability. Like the opponents they fight always got to be easy to copy, easy to use. Tutorial mode on easy. All that got to be there. And then now the copy guy looks cooler. But I'm talking about like in general, like if you just like completely random, you get a copy ability and stuff like that. But let's see someone like Jump from an Ordinary and how you could take. Yeah, John is a special case. John does go against what I'm saying because, like, usually I would say Blake would be using his power better. But again, yeah, you are right that like in John's case in ordinary, he does break kind of what I'm saying, but I still like yeah. In John's case, he's definitely an exception to that rule, but I still feel like the average copier, right? Like no MC, none of that shit. Like just the average copier isn't like John. It's just a loser that just waits for cool abilities, and then that's pretty much it. And there's still like there's still situations where John really can't. Actually, no, John doesn't have to touch you to copy you, right? Yeah, he's pretty fucking broken. But yeah, so yeah, in John's case, I definitely can get what you're saying, but I'm more so speaking on like the average copier. You know, like the average copier where you pretty much have to just rely on everyone else's abilities. Like it's not like you're some super genius and yada yada yada. Because I feel like, because like for example, when people talk about like gravity power, super strength, or like all these like crazy abilities, no one really has to put these conditions. Like you gotta be super smart and you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta for copy niggas, they always got these conditions. The ability got to be simple. You gotta have so much EXP. You gotta do this. You gotta do that, and then copying is cool. So your problem is with how copies are easy but stupid hype button and is usually lazily thought out. Yeah, stuff like that too. And also because I do think copy niggas are given like they're put on like a pedestal that like they're always given people like for example a lot of people that copy are always given opponents that are super with super cool abilities, like even though like for example like that, let's say there's a guy that like copies abilities, right, and he's in a team of two. There's a guy with super strength and a guy that copies abilities, and they're fighting two opponents, right? One guy like the opponent like the opponent with the coolest ability is gonna fight the guy that copies because they want the copy guy to look as cool as possible. So they always cater like the story to him to make sure the copy guy's always fighting the coolest guy, yada yada yada. Because if you copy the wrong power, you're useless. So they will never make the copy guy like copy the wrong power. But realistically, you're never that lucky. You will have to you. There's a good amount of times you're gonna fight someone that's not doesn't have a cool power. You're gonna fight a Mario, the receipt dude, people with like just weird powers that copying doesn't really do anything, and then you're fucked. Just because your power is really not that good. But compared to like Jin, who can copy because his yeah, Jin is more so like yeah he just learns on the spot, so that's a little different. It's not like his innate power is copy. I'm talking about like that's it. Like you could have super strength, super speed, all this, but you copy other people. I'm just like that's it, bro. Like man, I'm good. But yeah, I'm not trying to make this too long though. So yeah, that's my general thoughts on copy updates in general. Again, after talking of EK here, it's not the worst thing ever. I know I was trying to make it sound like the worst thing ever, but oh, okay, before you end, so go ahead, bro. But yeah, I'm not saying it's like the worst thing ever, but yeah, a lot of situations I feel like copy guys are just being catered to by the author, and of course you have to make your story good. So of course, you gotta know what this all means for the common enemy. Bro, what is he talking about, bro? Yeah, bam. Oh my god, that's the cue to fucking end this shit, bro. We are not talking about Bam, bro. Fuck, that guy was so hate. Even before season 3, people were already sick and tired of his copy shit, bro. Oh my god, damn, that guy's crazy. But yeah, that's about it. Again, I'm not trying to. I mean, I was trying to paint copying as like the worst thing ever. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not as cool as people think it is. It's so reliant on other people and so many factors that like innately, I think almost every other power will every other staple power. People generally like the super speed, super strength, telekinesis, gravity. All that shit is cooler, in my opinion. Copying, you just sit back and wait for those cool abilities to come to you, and then you copy them. And if you're just sitting and waiting, you're lazy and you're trash. All I gotta say. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Check the description for all the links. I got my main channel, Twitter, Discord server, Twitch link, so you can come through, have a good talk, and you can also support the Patreon too. Link it in the description down below. Thank you again for watching. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace.